Everybody, welcome to Studio B, Beach Street Yacht Club in San Francisco's beautiful...
Sunny.
Is it sunny? Partly sunny.
Yeah.
A little overcast here in San Francisco, but it's Friday afternoon. We got on a couple minutes late, but welcome to all of you around the world for joining us here for our show number 680. My dad had a boat number 680. It was one of his best, most competitive boats, if I remember well.
We'll dedicate the show to that.
We will dedicate it to, actually, to a lot of people. I had this group, Julia, as you know, doing testing last night. And in fact, we did two and a half hour tests yesterday. And I want to thank everybody who came on and helped us with those tests, testing out our studio and a little upgrade we did to it. And I do thank you very much indeed, because we were having a bit of a video problem, but it's all fixed now. We hope, knock on wood.
Yes.
And I'm looking at the stats here and everything looks clean and good to go. So let's get on with it. Show number 680 for today, Friday the 26th. It's Australia Day here. But it's already there Saturday morning down under. We got a lot of people on. Wilson, a.k.a. William Sangmeister, let's go. Training to Win. That's John Emmett on YouTube. Justin Palm, hello, looks nice. Warren Schosser, still can't get you guys on YouTube. No, we are on YouTube. Have a look, Warren. We should be there. Sailing Illustrated TV. Joe Holtzman up in sunny but cold Colorado. Gordon Smith testing 1, 2, 3 from Denmark. And Greg Phillips in the Gold Coast and Oz. And Fritz Mueller down in Miami. Happy, wishing all of our Aussie friends happy Australia Day. Bannero, Rick, the Fuzzy Fuzzy, hey, Fro, Gray, and Drizzly, Ridgewood, New Jersey. From, I guess that means. Alistair Murray, Mr. President of the esteemed Sailing Australia, is on with us. And we have an AAAA from him today, Julia.
I can hardly wait.
It's terrific.
Yeah.
Steve Gruber, one of the smartest guys on here. He knows a lot about our beloved sport. He is on from rainy Connecticut. David James wanting to know how Mrs. Wedekind he calls you, Wedekind auf Deutsch. I realized that the color of her blouse on Tuesday was probably cerulean.
Oh.
Did you see that? I don't know why he's talking about your color. Is this another test or the real deal, Andrew Pindar? What were you going to say, Julia?
No, he was talking about the color of blue that I was wearing.
Well, you're in something else today.
Yes.
Purple. What do you call that?
Burgundy.
Hi, everybody. Let's kick this one off with, at the suggestion of several of you, with a Bravo Zulu. And you like that. Jonathan Frank said, why don't you always kick the show off with the Bravo Zulu? We try to do that. And there's some really cool news about an American who is about to become, we hope, the first ever female to sail single-handed nonstop around the world. Her name is Cole Brower. She's from Maine, Boothbay, Maine, and she just passed, as Paul Caird calls it, the corn.
Yeah.
And she is turning into the Atlantic, the South Atlantic, heading up toward the finish of this race. We've not covered much. I took this off Tip and Shaft today. The picture of the week, according to Tip and Shaft, is the fresh one from Cole Brower, the second sailor, she's in second place, in the Global Solo Challenge. There's 15 boats total. She's the second one to cross the longitude of the Horn, Cape Horn, this Friday, today at 12:30 UTC. So that was, a few hours ago. And presumably she gets back up to Spain from whence the race started and will finish. She will become the first American to complete a nonstop solo circumnavigation of the globe via the three capes. She tipped over, meaning she just got into the Atlantic 15 days after Frenchman Philippe Delamare, the solid leader, who is now less than 4,500 miles from the finish in La Coruña, in España, in Spain's northwest corner.
Yep.
2 of the 13 sailors still in the race are currently on a technical stopover. Belgian Edouard de Keyser in Port Lincoln in Oz. He probably went in there for Australia Day, Julia.
Why not?
And Bulgarian Pavlin, I guess, Nadvorny is in Bluff in NZL. You can follow the race on, just go to Global Solo Challenge. And I went there this morning and checked it out. It's a and we haven't been covering it because there's so darn many of these things now, but there are more people who have climbed Mount Everest. I'm told by several of you, the foes have been keeping me posted, but more people have climbed, Julia, Mount Everest. More people have gone to the moon.
Really?
Yes, than have sailed around single-handed via the three capes.
Wow.
And what are the three capes?
Good Hope.
Good Hope. The Horn.
The Horn.
As we know. And what's the third cape? Come on, the Fozzie must know this. Julia, it's in Australia. I've been down there.
Yes.
Yeah. Cape Leeuwin.
Leeuwin. I never
which is the southwesternmost corner of Oz.
Mm-hmm.
And it's where the Indian Ocean meets the Southern Ocean.
Oh, yeah.
It's really cool.
I don't think I ever knew the name of that cape.
Cape Leeuwin. It's Dutch, obviously. Leeuwin, I think is the spelling from memory. She is sailing her Class 40, built in 2008, called First Light. And bravo Zulu to her.
Indeed.
I hope she gets around okay. And the finish is up, as we said, in A Coruña, in the northwest corner of España, of Spain. She is standing second of the 15 starters. And the distance, she's got quite a distance between herself and the leader. We mentioned Philippe Delamare. She's 9 days in speed and distance behind him, but she's 17 days ahead of the third place, Vento di Sardegna, being sailed by Andrea Mura. So, again, bravo Zulu to her. It's a nice way to start off the show. Thanks, Jonathan Frank, and several others for that.
That's a great picture of her. She's up and fresh. And
let me go back to it.
Yeah.
Where is that picture? I had it up. Let me get it back here. Where is the bloody picture?
There it is.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah, wouldn't you? She's just having a great time.
I didn't know, I've heard of her, but I didn't know much about her. She went to the University of Hawaii. She is a naturalist, outdoorsy type person, grew up, I guess, in Maine, Booth Bay, Maine, but cool stuff.
Yes.
Really cool stuff. No, Andrew Pendar, as I said, this is not another test. We did do extensive testing because we like to go on the air and not have any problems. We like to drop no frames on the network or otherwise. Hi, Bob Walker, checking in. And thank you, Bob, for checking in when we did the testing. Justin Palm says it looks good. Pedro Foiling Sailor, great show yesterday. We'll watch it in replay. Not yesterday, it's today. It's right now, Pedro. Those were tests. And there's Jez Taylor, whom I don't know, but we are doing a feature on, apparently Jez is from the Southwold Sailing Club. We're doing a bit of a feature on that club today, and we'll show you that in a moment. Rick was also helpful with the testing over the last couple days. Sounds good and looks good on my Smarty Pants phone. Southwold Sailing Club is watching. Greeting. It's, Friday night there, plus 8 hours, so it's 21. They're probably having a nice... Their bar opens Friday and Saturday nights. That much I know about the club. So maybe they're watching it live. We'll get to that segment in just a few minutes. David Price, Pricey saying hi from Oz. On Australia Day, he's probably, like a lot of other Australians, nursing a hangover because it's actually their Saturday morning.
Oh, that's right.
Down there at whatever time it is, dark. 6, 7 in the morning. Christian Price, his lovely wife, is on as well. Both Fozies, as is Andrew McIrvin. Mr. Dr. Andrew McIrvin from Coldish, London. Blake Middleton, nice to have Blake back on after about a year away.
Yes.
Cheers from the land of 10,000, mostly unfrozen. It's been pretty warm up there in Minnesota. And on and on. Alistair Murray saying, speaking of your dad's 680, how many of us use our sale numbers as PIN passwords? Good question. Do you do that, Julia? Do you use any of your old sale numbers as your PINs or your passwords?
I don't.
You don't use your birth date or your address or your phone number, though, do you?
No.
I don't know about that. I know a couple of your passwords. Clark Chapin, our super Fozie from Michigan. That color comment was a subtle reference to Meryl Streep's character in The Devil Wore Prada. Yes, well, David is very subtle, if nothing else. Coldbrower looks like a big Tip and Shaft fan. I hope. Oh, Stingray, Julia, give him a finger wag. That was not correct. Stingray. Go Ronnie Simpson. Yeah, Ronnie's in the race as well. Now, Lewin is, I think it's not Lewin, Steve Gruber. I think it's Leeuwin, the Dutch spelling, but perhaps our Aussie friends will correct me.
David James says Leeuwin.
Yeah, so does Ryman. I see Ted. Yeah, that's the way it's spelled, actually. Isn't it the way I spelled it? That's how I know it as. I've been down there when we were doing the Cup in the late 80s down there. Hola, guys, from New York City. Hi, Larry Kennedy. So we say hi to everybody. They are watching at the Southwold Sailing Club. Welcome to all of you. Gerard Luce is on. I haven't heard Gerard for a while. Gordon Smith in Denmark, we mentioned, and Stingray. The first finger wag, Julia. Give him another one just for good.
That's very good.
Measure the crouton. Up in Seattle, we love Stingray. And Stingray helped a lot, too, with testing.
He always does. He seems to know a lot about that.
I wonder what he knows about, he used to work for Boeing. I wonder what he knows about 737 Maxes.
I know. I've been refraining from chatting.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say.
You're not going to say?
No, he forgot to tighten the last bolt.
Now, our Dutch-speaking Fozy, one of our several Dutch-speaking Fozy, Thierry de Jong, who is probably in SoCal, where he lives most of the time, having immigrated from the Netherlands, he says Lewin is female for lion.
Oh.
See what you learn on Sailing Illustrated?
Indeed.
Linguistics Illustrated. Interesting, Julia, too, that Sailing Illustrated is gone by the by. It looks like they're folding up 10 after all these years.
Sailing Illustrated?
No, Sports, did I say Sailing Illustrated?
Yes, you
Sports
did.
Illustrated.
I was going to say, that's news to me.
Sports Illustrated is folding up their 10th, the famously good, what used to be famously good sports magazine, but like a lot of things, they went woke, and now they've gone broke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the New York Times just excused over 100 staff.
Well, the media here, especially the lefty media in this country, but even the righty media is also suffering. We're not suffering. We're going from strength to strength here on Sailing Illustrated. Thank you for joining us. On show 679, which was Tuesday's show, of course, we had T. Hutch. Terry Hutchinson was live from Barcelona. A very interesting interview, and not one of these, well, I got to keep my cards close to my chest. He's pretty forthright, and he's calm and cool and competent. And I know many of you appreciated having him on, as did we, very much.
Absolutely.
So, Terry, thank you very much for coming on. Now, I have it's not quite breaking news, but I can update you on Long Beach Yacht Club. And really, if they're doing what I now hear and think that they are doing, they deserve a Bravo Zulu as well. Because, as you know, this saga, which we've been reporting on which we have been reporting for the last couple of weeks. The lineup was announced previously for their 59th Congressional Cup list of skippers, and it's still not posted on their website because we know they've been internally and working with James Pleasance, who's the executive director of the World Match Racing Tour. They're having some rethinking about all of that because they only announced, remember, 8 skippers, plus there were to be 2 from qualifying via the Ficker Cup, which is the local regatta just the week before Congressional Cup that qualifies, well, mostly, I guess non-Americans can sail in as well, but you have to get an invite to sail in the Ficker Cup. So there are 8 of the 10 have been announced, Chris Poole through Gavin Brady, all of well-deserving entries, good choices all ranked fairly highly on the World Sailing Ranking List as of January 1st. And then they were to have 2 more entries from the Ficker Cup to be sailed just the week before. Now, here's the bugaboo. Here's what has been everyone's, including and especially ours, is that Ian Williams, the many-time, and Brit, of course, current world match racing champion, won the Worlds again in December in China. He was not invited because they had done the list, done the entries, the invites before the Worlds were run in December. And they should have, figured that out, that maybe we better keep our powder dry or maybe keep a slot or 2 depending upon what happens there. There is the list of the entries of the finishers, the winners, and more, the finishers, I should say, at the Worlds. And the green check marks are those who have been invited to Congressional Cup, and the red X's are those who were not invited, including, as you can see there at the top,
Ian Williams.
Ian Williams. And I would have liked to have seen him invited. I'd like to have seen Megan Thompson invited as well. And you can argue about one or two of the others, but that's the truth of the matter. Now, what we've been talking about and what we thought they were going to do was to take one of the two Ficker Cup entries and drop it and put Ian Williams in, which they should do. Ian wants to come. He can't sail in the Ficker Cup. He doesn't have the time. He's got a day job. He's a lawyer in London. And he and his crew, who sail with him without charging him, they're really top-notch group. They've got other obligations as well, and taking 2 weeks off to go sail in 2 amateur events. There's a bit of prize money, but it's a burden. And being away from the families, yada, yada. So we said we've been advocating, pushing here, drop one of the 2 Ficker Cup entries, put Ian in, and call it a day. Well, what one now hears, and they haven't, I'm checking my mail. We got on a little late because we were checking our emails, and I still don't see the release, but I'm promised that a release is coming out. If not, it's coming out imminently. If not yet this afternoon, it'll come out presumably over the weekend. But what they are going to do, one hears, which is an even better idea if this is what they're doing, Julia. They're going to keep both Ficker entries, add Ian Williams, which makes 11 entries, and then they're going to add a 12th entry by putting the 3rd place finisher in the Ficker Cup into Congressional Cup. And what that does, it rounds it off at 12, which is a good number for rounds robin, because they have a double round robin at the start of the regatta. Boats. They can switch and swap boats between matches. They do have 12 boats, but if one gets damaged, you have to keep a spare boat ready to go if somebody's boat gets damaged during the racing, so that racing doesn't grind to a proverbial halt. But that's really cool.
It is.
I think what they're doing is a great solution. Bravo Zulu to them. Again, I don't know for sure that's what they're doing. I hope that's what they're doing, because that's what I now hear they're doing. That also helps raise the stature of the Ficker Cup up to, it's right now, I think, a grade 3 event according to the match racing grading by World Sailing. The number of sailors, the prize money, the number of countries, yada, yada, it all factor in. But if that's the case, it'll help get the Ficker Cup up to grade 2, which is also good.
Yes.
So I hope you're doing that, Long Beach Yacht Club. And I see Timotei Rossi is on. And Bing Bong is saying the 12th should be Megan Thompson, who finished 3rd at the Worlds. Yeah, okay, you could argue that. But I'm just happy that they're getting Ian in. Megan's got a lot of years ahead of her, and she no doubt will be in Congressional Cup in due course. And I think Timotei Rossi will be in it as well. Great young match racer from France, who often is on. We're going to get him back on the show. We've had him on here briefly once before. So good stuff. Stingray agreeing that T. Hutch was an excellent guest. And again, I hope this is what Long Beach Yacht Club are doing as we speak. I'm about to get a release out, and they're going to bump the entries from 10 to 12, including Ian Williams, and now 3, not just 2, but 3.
Richard Gladwell
from
says.
Ficker Cup. Yes.
Oh no, it was. It's Chris
He
Poole's-
says the release is out.
It's Chris Poole saying that it's never been a grade 3.
Yeah, well, hang on. You were right. First of all, back up. Richard Gladwell says the release is out. It's on. Sail World's got it, so Richard's got it. Ian Williams has been added. Sanity has prevailed, and a great move. Good. Okay, Richard. So Richard has confirmed that.
Right.
And Chris Poole is saying, Chris is the previous winner. He won the Congressional Cup last year. He's won it a number of times. He said Ficker has never been a grade 3. Well, they were concerned then that it was going to be grade 3, Chris. And by the way, Chris, Julia, as you will recall, not only won the Congressional Cup last year, he came on the show afterward.
Right.
He's won every race. The first person
remember that,
to
yeah.
have done that in the modern era, winning all the racing in the rounds robin and his semifinal matches and his finals matches.
Yes.
Now, there was one other person, you may recall, who did win all of his matches back when Congressional Cup was just a single round robin. And do you remember who that was?
No, but I remember that he did it.
Bill Ficker.
Oh, Bill Ficker.
Bill Ficker, after whom the Ficker Cup is named. Bill
Right.
passed away a few years ago in 2017. Ficker is quicker.
Yes.
Is what the claim was, and the buttons all over Newport, Rhode Island in 1970, when one of the nicest, most gentle, coolest, decent guys in the sport, Bill Ficker, won the Cup sailing, remember? Intrepid
Oh, Intrepid.
in 1970
Yeah.
in Newport, Rhode Island. And of course, his daughter, Dion McDonald, and her husband, Peter McDonald, who are dear friends, are also Fozy and
Yeah.
regular watchers of the
Yes.
show. Let's see what's going on. Julie Aaron says she loves Terry, meaning T. Hutch. He was a great guest. Yes, Julie, thanks for that. And Patrice Gallo-Rachlin, glad they're adding Ian Williams. Yeah, I'm happy to break that news. I guess the release was out. Gordon Smith, having a slot for the World Champion should have been a no-brainer from the get-go. However, we have landed in a happy place now. Somebody check that link for me that Richard's got up in the comments, would you please, and just confirm that that is in fact, I believe, Richard, that they've added Ian's, but see if they've also added the third place finisher from Ficker, which is what I believe they were about to do. By way of further update, we changed to a less happy note, and that is the continuing saga at U.S. Sailing. Alan Ostfield, their CEO, the non-sailing CEO, the gentleman's got to go. And this video was sent by one of you asking if this was the U.S. flailing, to use their term. Is that the non-sailing CEO at the helm of that boat? You got to see that again. I mean, it sure looks like he might be, huh? The U.S. Okay, we'll skip that.
Never mind.
I posted on my Facebook page that the non-sailing CEO sure has bounced around. And I took this right off his own LinkedIn page. And as one of you said, he came from the Detroit Pistons, which in this country is one of the NBA basketball teams, and from my home state, and was great back in the 80s and 90s, and hasn't been great since then. And as somebody said, yeah, I'm from the Detroit Pistons and here to help, because I think this year, Julia, the Detroit Pistons and Mr. This non-sailing CEO who used to work at the Pistons.
Yeah.
This is not his fault.
No.
I don't think it was, but they had a losing streak that eclipsed all other losing streaks in the NBA history. But he, as I said, will have no trouble finding a job because he's hopped around, he's bounced around from so many jobs. But regardless, the non-sailing CEO has to go, has got to go. And the sooner they get rid of them, the sooner they can start cleaning up the mess. The board's got some problems too, but let's don't get into that now. The board's got to sort this out, and then the rest of us got to help sort out the board. And Steve Groover has looked at that link, confirming that Ian Williams and the top three from Ficker Cup are in. Okay, great news. Thank you for that. Thank you, Richard Gladwell. Maxwell Smart, yeah. Do you remember Maxwell Smart, Julia?
Yes.
What was the name of the TV show?
I can't.
Get Smart.
Oh, Get Smart.
It could be the theme for this show.
Yes.
Get Smart. What else? David James, Intrepid was probably the finest A-Cup yacht ever. Well, perhaps Reliance. Well, how about Courageous? Courageous was pretty good. Lots of comments. Comments just rolling in here. Peter Taylor knew it was Get Smart.
Yes.
A question from Baton Rouge. Are there any snow skiers on? U.S. Ski Only refers to the U.S. Olympic ski team only. Yeah, they've been back and forth between amalgamation and separation, and Blake Middleton knew it was Get Smart. Yeah, Get Smart, Get Smart. That's what we do here on Sailing Illustrated. We talk about a lot of different things besides sailing. Mm-hmm. The non-sailing CEO's got to go. Now, I tell you one other one here's, and that is that next week, the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down in beautiful Savannah, Georgia. Mm-hmm. The U.S. Sailing is running what they call their National Sailing Programs Symposium, the NSPS 2024. And you can see the subhead there. The National Sailing Programs Symposium is the premier event for sailing education in the U.S. And once again, I rest my case. This is their major event. This is what their major focus is. This is what their major concern is. not yacht racing or racing sailors. You can call it what you want, or sailboat racing, which is what it used to be. Nehru, USYU, even the early days of U.S. sailing after the name was changed. It was focusing on the needs of racing sailors and clubs and classes and regatta weeks. There are lots of other organizations that can teach sailing, that do teach sailing, that certify schools, that certify instructors, and in many cases do it better. But you know why, Julia, U.S. Sailing has gotten into this business?
For money.
Ka-ching! It's for the money, and at the expense of everything else in the sport. And if they'd gotten into this business and done it well, and also the sport was growing, participation at the grassroots level was growing, it's not. Clayton Embley saying, yep, Savannah's his hometown. It's beautiful. I was there on the jury for the 96 Olympics in Savannah when the main Olympics were in Atlanta, and we did the Sailing Olympics in Savannah. Thunderstorms around us all the time. Ed Worley says, yeah, follow the money. He knows the answer. I know some of you are playing drinking games and taking a shot, a hit. I don't recommend that, but do what you want. But the non-sailing CEO has to go. I know that's your go for the gold, follow the money, Rick Rundle is saying. Yeah. Mr. President, Rich Jepson, he's got a heart of gold, nice guy here from the Bay Area. He owns a sailing school. He is focused on teaching sailing and sailing schools, not a racer himself. But you got some other people on that board like Stan Honey, who are racers, Pam Healy, and others. Henry Brower, who's the vice president. And for some reason, they cannot get their collective act together. They have sued, as you know, Kayard and America One and Bill Rue and Leandro Spina. I don't know. I don't get it. Now, I'll tell you one other thing to end on a positive note. That is that the Olympics, and this is from their website, the U.S. Sailing Team's website, which is a sub page of U.S. Sailing's main website. The Olympics are in 182 days. We still don't have a leader of our Olympic program here, announced here in the U.S. 182 days go to the Olympics. U.S. Sailing is now suing the only organization that has, not the only, but the largest organization by far that's given money to Olympic athletes, to the sailing team, to coaches, yada, yada, and that is this organization called America One. It's the remnants of Julia, of your club's 2000 America's Cup campaign that Kayard ran, Paul Kayard. And this, with only 182 days to go, and I've talked with a lot of you. We talked a little bit about this. We talked to John Emmett, who, of course, is an Olympic coach par excellence. Talked to others here in the States and worldwide. What can we do to help? Well, we're going to redouble our efforts to support our American and even Canadian, to a degree. They have the same problem in Canada. Oh, Canada. We're going to support our Olympic athletes, and I'm announcing today that, and it's a small gesture, but it's a gesture, that we here on Sailing Illustrated are going to begin a new series called USST's, or probably Sailing Illustrated's, Road to Marseille. And as we've done with the Governor's Cup, remember, we've had all the skippers on from the Governor's Cup. We'll do that again this year. We're going to do that this year for our Olympians here in the States, feature the Olympians once they qualify either via the trials or qualify the nation to go participate, some of whom have won the trials, but the U.S. is still not qualified in that class. So we'll do that. So Road to Marseille, we're going to start that series coming up soon. And Jay Rendell, thank you for your inspiration, your help with this, and any number of others who have suggested that we help. David James, Rich Jepson owned a racing yacht. He actually rescued several members of the modified Hobie 38. Yeah, the late, great Larry Klein in the 1994 Big Boat Series. Yes, Rich Jepson, I said, is a heart of gold. He's a good guy. But I don't know why U.S. Sailing thinks they're going to spend a lot of money on suing America One and that they're going to get any money out of America One. The non-sailing CEO needs to go. Rich Jepson, the president, and the rest of your board needs to get with it. And I hear at this meeting in Savannah that I was just telling you about a minute ago, I didn't deliver the punchline. There is a meeting being called by one of the past presidents, a high visibility past president of U.S. Sailing, is calling a meeting of all the other past presidents.
Wow.
Who then are going to discuss the matter and talk turkey to the U.S. Sailing current president and board of directors.
How nice.
So I think that's progress
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
Would you agree, Julia?
Absolutely. Yeah.
You would do that. You would have thought of that if you were past president of U.S. Sailing, not just past president of the student body at Stanford.
Yes, I would.
Or whatever the hell you were.
Yes.
Thanks again to all of you who helped us with the test. The last we'll talk about testing. I'm looking at all the numbers here on our stream viability and frames dropped are 0.0%. Thank you all who helped us Wednesday through Thursday these past couple days. A lot of FOSI came on and did indeed help. In fact, last night I ran a 2.5-hour show preparing this show. And
Yes.
They were saying, oh, don't use that slide. Use this slide instead, or start with a Bravo Zulu. The FOSI is why we're here. I was asked by a senior serious person at lunch yesterday, well, I know about your show, but why don't you have sponsors? And I said, because we want to say what we mean what we say. And we have patrons, and we thank all of you who do patronize the show via patreon.com.
Absolutely.
Give us $1 or $2 or $5 or more per month, patreon.com/join/Sailing Illustrated. That's how we stay on the air. It's how we upgrade our equipment. We do have quite an equipment upgrade for this show, which we were doing all that testing about. Julia, what are we celebrating today? We've talked about it.
Australia Day.
It is indeed Australia Day. Of course, down under now, it's Saturday morning, the 27th.
Yeah.
But we will continue to celebrate Australia Day during this show. We love Australia. I've lived there on and off during the 85, 6, and 7 lead up to the 87 Cup in Perth. Frio, spent, as many of you have time, those of you who live there, but many others, including Julia, have spent a lot of time in Sydney, in Melbourne, in Adelaide, where John Emmett is now, getting ready for the ILCA 7 Worlds. Happy Australia Day, and let's go right into this day in history about, obviously, Australia Day, the 26th of January, 1788. Julia, do you know who this gentleman is?
It's a red nose.
He does have a red. He's a Brit. And he's a British naval officer. He was a captain who later got promoted to admiral. Captain Arthur Phillip was born in 1738, lived to 1814. Arthur Phillip, all the Aussies know who he is. In October 1786, Phillip was appointed captain of the HMS Sirius and named governor-designate of New South Wales, the proposed British penal colony on the east coast of Oz. And that was done by his boss, that is the appointment, by Lord Sydney. Any idea why the town of Sydney is named Sydney?
Yeah.
So the then Home Secretary, Lord Sydney, appointed him. The first fleet of 11 ships set sail on the 13th of May, 1787. So in 1788, Captain Arthur Phillip and British colonists hoist the Union flag at Sydney Cove, New South Wales, now celebrated as Australia Day, referred to as
Invasion Day.
Invasion Day by some First Nations, the indigenous peoples in Oz. Happy Australia Day. That's a bit of the history. This day in history, 26th of January, 1788. Finally, I see he's on. Pricey, David Price sent us. I used this on Tuesday's show. And in honor of Australia Day, and tongue-in-cheek at least, what do Aussie farm dogs do after knocking off work? Come on, you gotta love it.
It is. It's
David Price.
Yeah.
That's what all Aussies do, especially on Fridays. They knock off work, and away they go. What else here? I'm seeing a lot of comments. God, the comments are flowing in. We get 200 to 300 high-quality comments per show, and never any name-calling, never any personal attacks, never even any coarse language, because our FOSI and all of you on here are so respectable and responsible. What else are we saying here? Cook. No, that's Fritz Mueller. That's not Captain Cook. Is U.S. sailing circling the drain as World Sailing Illustrated? What else? Any other comments? Get Paul Henderson in for a year to run U.S. sailing. He's independent. He sure knows how to give an organization a good shakeout. It's a good point, but I don't think he would want to do that. He probably would want to do it, Richard. They still act like a bunch of convicts in Australia, Gruber is saying. Okay, what other comments? If it is so fun how Australia Day Stingray says, the big immigration celebration day down under still makes most everyone feel a touch taller. What else? 100 messages already, and we're only 40 minutes into the show. Yeah, the plumber, Paul Henderson, the plumber from Toronto. Dear friend Fosey's been on this show a number of times. We better get him back on, see what his comment is about all this.
Right.
Congressional Cup, you thought I was maybe a little cheeky when I ran that as our promo slide last night on Facebook and YouTube and so on, but I knew this news was coming. I didn't know for sure what the news was. I had a pretty good idea, but I'm delighted, and once again, Bravo Zulu 2 Long Beach Yacht Club for the decision to include Ian and bump the entry list to 12, including now a third entry from the FICA Cup. Carrying on with Aussies, cool Aussies, and Australia Day, we got to have an AAAA from Alistair Murray, current president of Australian Sailing. Alistair's awesome Aussie anecdote with a couple of surprise guests.
G'day everybody. This is AAAA, Alistair's awesome Aussie anecdote. And I'm coming to you on Australia Day, which is a great pleasure. It's a divisive day in some ways. Our Indigenous people struggle with some aspects of it, but all of the reconciliation efforts are fantastic. I think the country's making great progress. And I'd like to think that on Australia Day, a multicultural society such as ours can all group together and celebrate what a great nation we have and what a wonderful a lot of people we have from all nations and from all stages of Australia's history. So happy Australia Day to all the Australians. It's a great day to be here. Now, Tom and Julia and all the Fosey, a funny thing happened to me yesterday. I met somebody who actually claims to be John Emmett, which was quite unusual. But I must admit, he does kind of look like him. So we're going to put him to a bit of a test, or this guy, right? So this guy claims to be John Emmett. Now, I think we could just have a little bit of a test. So what's the host of Sailing Illustrated's name? Illustrated?
Is it Tim Eamon? Tom Eamon?
One of the two.
One of the two.
One of the two. And where do they broadcast from?
Beach Street Yacht Club.
Correct. Yeah.
So 2 out of 2.
Doing okay so far. And the Commodore.
Oh crikey! I'm gonna butcher the surname. Yeah. Dyslexic sailing coach Juliet Wickikind. Is close enough?
Vetikind.
Okay,
anyway,
2.5 out of 3.
Yeah, no, I might be wrong too. And what's a crouton?
Crikey, I don't know how to say this without being rude. Not a very clever person or thing or idea.
Yes, and I think that is stuck. It's a really good term, actually. I kind of like it. And well, I'm almost convinced, but maybe just one thing to sort of tip it over the edge. What's your wife's name?
I'm not sure. I mean, I haven't.
You're struggling with that too.
I haven't seen her for months. Yeah. Is it Lily?
Lily. Yeah. So, Lily. Okay. Can you prove you're married to Lily?
She's just there.
Okay.
So
that was Lily.
That was you.
Test. So you are. So the man I had 100 beers with last night was in fact John Emmett.
For the camera's sake, they were about that size.
Okay, but anyway, so now that we can be ourselves, and you are John Emmett and I am Alistair Murray, I must say what a pleasure it was finally meeting you, seeing you over all these years, and Lily, to meet you both in person. It's kind of weird actually, because we feel like old friends, and we just met in the flesh for the first time ever.
Joys of the internet.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's fantastic to be here. We can say it now.
Where are we?
Adelaide Sailing Club. And yeah, we're just about to do the first 2 races of the ILCA 7 World Championship. So it's quite an early morning recording, because I guess in 2 hours this is going to be heaving with a lot of very nervous sailors and coaches. I mean, it's 53 countries here.
That's right.
It's just amazing.
we had a wonderful opening ceremony last night. We had the Governor of South Australia here, and we had the President of World Sailing, Shawn Hai-Lee, was here, which was a real privilege, and we had a big party. It was terrific. And John and I...
the didgeridoo.
And the didgeridoo, yeah. And John and I were the last to leave.
Yeah, Lily was wondering if I'm being kidnapped.
Why am I the last to leave every party? I get asked this.
Well, it's important to represent, and the social aspect is very important. I mean, I don't...
Yeah.
I understand the fact not all the sailors managed to come because they have a very big week coming, but that means just the coaches and the officials have to doubly represent.
Yeah. It's going to be a very successful championship. A good breeze today.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday I was accused of bringing the British weather as it rained all day, and it slightly worried me that PRO said he didn't see that much rain on the forecast, and I thought every forecast I saw did. Yeah. But it's really good racing conditions and really good launching conditions.
And you're looking ready to go and fresh from all that jet lag you must have. I mean, you flew from Argentina to Australia via London. That's a big ask.
And it's funny, I was up at 5 a.m. This morning doing an interview with Wernie's wife, who's also a very successful sailor. And when I went to bed last night, I had to do the maths 3 times to make sure I did set the alarm at the right time. This half an hour thing really throws me.
We have a town in between South Australia and Western Australia that is on a 15-minute time window. That's their time zone, 15 minutes. And you look at the clocks, you think it can't be right. No. It just can't be, but it is. UCLA. Remember, put that away in your memory. UCLA, E-U-C-L-A. Anyway, it's terrific to be here, and looking forward to following these championships. Wernie is the favourite in the Ilka Sevens, you would think.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, on paper, he's the Olympic gold medalist and he's the current world champion. Yeah. But the thing I would say is every single Olympic cycle, the standard gets higher and higher. So you asked me 20 years ago, who's going to medal, and you would say, Ben Ainsley, Robert Shite, Michael Blackburn. Yeah. Now, to pick just 3 names, it's really hard.
You've got to be good. And we'll know in a week or two, and you'll be competing yourself in 7 days?
Yeah, something like that. I need to go out sailing on the water. I think probably that the safest thing to do will let all the big people launch first and then go at the end, and then make sure I come in before them so I can pick the trolley. And I'm going to be really careful with the trolley after Argentina, because they're dangerous things. But it's perfect. I don't know if you can see on the camera, but we're launching straight off a beach as opposed to the launching floating pontoons we had in Argentina. So I think we can get everyone out there very quickly. Yeah.
And let's finish off a little bit about talking about Sailing Illustrated. So we're part of a community that Tom and Julian have created. It's fun, isn't it?
It is, and for me, the live show is what it's all about, just because you have that ability to communicate and to commentate. And I think, sailing, we need more dialogue. It's very easy to sort of moan in the boat park, but to sort of step up and do things. And everybody wants what's best for our sport. And I just think it's a unique thing. And good for them. 2 shows a week. I don't know how they keep on doing it.
We talked about it over those beers last night, and it's a good part of our lives. And we feel like we're part of a community around the world, and we haven't met most of each other. No. I mean, you've never met Tom. He's an old mate of mine, but you've never even met him.
Well, we do have a US Games coming up at some point, so hopefully you'll be able to fly to the other side of the pond.
I think we need to have a big party. I've got a beautiful home at Meetung, which I've told Tom all about. It's a home on the lake with 7 bedrooms. I think it'd be good to have a Sailing Illustrated party and invite our friends from all around the world.
I'm actually looking down the camera for Lily's reaction.
Yeah, she'd love to come. Yeah. Well, John, it is fantastic to meet you in the flesh after all this time. I've got you a little gift for Lily and yourself. I did ask if she did some road biking, and I'd like to present you with one each of our Ron Stan cycling jerseys.
Perfect.
So and they'll be your size. So we'll enjoy that. John, absolute pleasure to meet you.
Yep.
And I'm going to wave to Lily and say, Lily, it's an absolute pleasure to meet you as well. Signing out from AAAA. See you, John.
See you.
Okay.
Was that fun or what?
Oh, it's great.
The best one ever.
Yes, indeed.
It was terrific, and thank you guys for doing that. Thank you, Lily, for doing, I guess she was the camera op. Gordon Smith is saying it would be great if Alistair and John Emmett could take us on a bike ride to show us the shore. Stand by, Gordon. We may have something for you. What a great interview, Holtzman is saying. Thanks, Joe. John Emmett is on here live. And his kind comments as well as Alistair's, but the idea of this being live, which is why it's so much fun, to think that this yacht club, which I only heard about this morning, and they're on their 75th anniversary, this Southwold Yacht Club in the UK. And I'll tell you how I came on to them, and it's just great that they're sitting there watching the show and, okay, come on, Eamon, get to it. We want to see what you're going to say about our club. We love clubs, and this club is a fabulous one, this Adelaide Sailing Club. And we're going to give you a tour in a moment, or John, I should say, is going to. Well, yeah, a goof party, David James. Cycling Illustrated. Julie Ahrens is on here, and her Yachties Are Hotties cycling shirt is on the way to her. I think I guess I said when we were doing the testing, I mentioned, I haven't told you this, Julie, I went down to Chestnut Street yesterday.
And really mailed it.
And mailed it to Julie Ahrens in Cleveland because she won it. She won the right to get it. And, of course, Gordon Smith in Denmark had it. So Alistair sent the shirt to Gordon in Denmark. Julie Ahrens said, I'll make a donation to my junior sailing program or charity of her choice. And she came up with the biggest number. And Gordon sent me the shirt. And then that must have cost Gordon some bucks. And, of course, and then I had to send it yesterday to Julie in Cleveland, and I was amazed at how much that cost just to send it, slow boat to China, so to speak. Yeah, $30 just to send a little shirt. It's not a little shirt. It's well worth it. Julie Ahrens, Gordon Smith, and Alistair. Thank you very much. Excellent AAAA. Ted Ryman is saying
the picture of Alistair and Emmett is when we should probably have in our gallery.
Should I screen grab that right now?
Yeah.
Okay, I just did. Southwold Sailing Club. Yay! Yep, we're going to show you. I got an extensive feature on this club, this Southwold Sailing Club. Really cool club. It was so great meeting John and Lily. Alistair is saying twice daily video content for the next 2 championships at ILCA. Okay, great. John is putting out some good video, not just only for us, but also for the class. So do go to his website. Julie's shirt will be too big for her. Alistair saying, let me know size and address, and I'll send a smaller one. Oh, she can sleep in it. Alistair, it can be her nightie. You saw that cameo appearance by one of our favorite Fozy.
Yes. Golden
Lily. And she is there and reunited with her husband, with John Emmett. They've been apart, glad. Julia, for a long time.
Yeah, at least 6 months.
And I made, okay, you can wave your finger at me, but I made a joke with John. I said, he's apparently got a wrist injury. And I said, well, now that Lily's there, maybe your wrist will get better. You can wave your finger at me. He said, no, he bristled. He said, no, that's not it. Fozy, Ligia. And in Chinese, it would be Zhu Ligia. You put the family name first. But Golden Lily, as we all know, her gold medalist in what? 4? 08? Finger wag. I'll be wearing it in Barcelona. She's going to wear your shirt, Julie Ahrens says, Alistair, in Barcelona when she goes for the Cup.
Aha.
When she goes for the Cup. And yeah, so John is there covering the ILCA 7 Worlds with his bride. And then John will be sailing. I don't think Alistair named the event, but then John will be sailing in the ILCA 7 Masters, I think. Or is it the 6 Masters? I don't know what World Masters. Maybe it's the ILCA 6 World. I thought he just did that down in... Okay, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe he was sailing in the ILCA 6 Worlds down in South America, in Mar del Plata. Yeah, Gordon Smith agrees there was a finger wag deserved there. But okay, great stuff. Thank you, guys. Thank you, all of you, especially Alistair, with our outro music. The Royal Naval Band playing, of course, one of my favorite songs. I always play that on the guitar to sing along, always. Yeah. I just don't know the words very well. Okay, Alistair's awesome Aussie anecdote. Now we have John's regular report, the Coach's Corner. So let's get into that. Our super Fozy John Emmett from, guess where? Adelaide Sailing Club. This is for you, Gordon Smith.
Hi, Tom, Julia, and all the folks. You join me at Adelaide Sailing Club, and it's a really good venue. The funny thing is, everyone is now accusing me of bringing the British weather with them, but actually I did come from Argentina, which was far hotter and sunnier than it is here now. But allegedly, before I came, it was 40 degrees here, so I bought several different types of wetsuits. You probably tell, hopefully the audio quality is good, but you probably tell it's a very windy day. And people are apologising for weather, but I think this is perfect. First 2 races of qualification at the ILCA 7 World Championships, and it's hard to overestimate what an important event this is. It's the primary Olympic qualifier. So at The Hague, where I was working with the Emerging Nations programme, we had 16 countries qualified, and there will be a further 7 countries qualified here. And the way that works is the world qualification places take precedent. And that means if you've already qualified on a regional level and you get a place here, as for example that 17th country, then that will mean more places for your region. And it's a really important thing because it's actually just getting to the games. It can be a real challenge. So probably the favourite for this event is Matt Wern. He's the current Olympic gold medalist. He's the current world champion, but there's always that pressure about sailing at your home country, and yeah, qualification for him is already sorted, so it's more about winning the championship because you're going to have 3 groups of people. Most will be trying to qualify their country. Those who've already qualified their country may well be in an internal selection trials to actually get the place at the Olympic Games. And then, thirdly, the people who've actually achieved both of those, and that's why early selection is a good idea, those people are going to be doing their utmost to win this event. So it's a bit unusual as a class championships, which is run by the class as opposed to World Sailing. We have our first ever medal race, although it is a bit of a funny medal race as well. So rather than having Gold Fleet Racing finishing and the top 10 go forward, it's actually decided the day before, and that means that the gold medal race will have Gold Fleet race will have the 10 medal racists taken out of it. So the first place in the final Gold Fleet race will be 11th, and that sort of took a little while to get my head around. I'm going to be trying to help with the media here. We're so close to Adelaide Airport, you can probably hear a plane in the background every 5 minutes, that we won't have any drones, etc., because you're not allowed. But yeah, just like Palma, we are really close to the airport. In fact, the venue's perfect. We can launch off a beach, which means we can probably launch the whole fleet within about 20 minutes, all 153 boats from 53 countries. And you probably can't quite see it, but my accommodation, the retreat, is just there, so it couldn't be more convenient. I'm going to try, injury-wise, going to try and do a bit of sailing myself, so when they have their 1 o'clock race, I'll probably launch after the final boat, get a little bit of venue knowledge in, although of course when you turn up at these events they always say, oh, it's never normally like this, which is why it's so important mentally just to put that time in to be really familiar with the venue. It's funny, I thought coming to Australia I would be in a situation of no language barrier at all, but as soon as we did the opening ceremony, we had some of the native speaking in a completely different language. I think it's Ghana and didgeridoos and all the rest of it. So it's still following culture. Boats here are supplied by Ziegelmeyer, so they're using the E6 brand. So my boat here, just on the corner, own little hose already, is very easy to find, as it's the only Devotti, which is what I use at home. So I was just in the process of rigging it all up. Beautiful thing about the ILCAs, doesn't matter what boat you sail, you can just take all your bits of string, come here, put them on the boat, you're ready to go. Just to be safe, I have brought 2 tillers with me to make sure I get a perfect fit. And that's it. I'll try and see you on the show. I seem to be doing quite well so far with the jet lag, famous last words. And any questions, please let me know, and if not, I'll answer them in replay.
Fabulous, eh? Nice stuff. Thank you, John. Another one of his terrific reports. I love getting a look at other clubs around the world, seeing what goes on. You know, even if we've been there. I've not been to Adelaide Sailing. I've been to Adelaide, but for a car race of all things, over the new year. Nice stuff. John Emmett, thank you. Good luck in your training and racing, and thanks for the coverage you're giving our sport, John. And you noticed, Julia, how crispy that audio was. He's on a wireless mic. He said he was on Blue. I saw in the comments it was Bluetooth, but I don't know if it was Bluetooth or if it's, but whatever it was, and Lily presumably doing the video, the camera work. And despite the wind, very good, crispy, clean audio, and we're going to send some kind of a package, or maybe while John is there, John will help Alistair get his equipment, his recording facility upgraded. Because, you know, we try to keep, as all that testing we did in the last couple of days, we keep trying to upgrade our show. I see we've dropped 0 frames.
Yay!
So far, and we're just an hour into the show. If you're just joining us, this is our regular Tuesday and Friday, show number 680. We've been doing this for 8 years now. It's hard to believe, isn't it, Julia?
Mm-hmm. I was interested to see the yacht club at Adelaide.
Have you been to the Adelaide Sailing Club?
Before it was there, I think, because a sailor by the name of Malcolm Kinnaird, who lived in Adelaide, really promoted sailing and big sailing events and built the clubhouse, I think. And I was trying to figure out when that was. It was about 1968, I think.
It was probably 1938.
No.
I'm kidding. I know what year you were
I'm
born.
old enough.
I know. The old farts here at Sailing Illustrated.
Yeah, but anyway, it's fun to see what happened and how normal all that is, and great people, great town.
It is, indeed. Well, the Aussies are fabulous. John Hanfield chiming in saying, yes, so many small clubs have fed so many amazing sailors forward. My home club is home to the Reed brothers, Kenny Reed, Brad Reed, READ, John. Olympic 470 sailors like Katie McDowell, Lars Guck, who's a great sailor, Tim Leonard, and many, many more. Of course, that's on Narragansett Bay, I think, is where John's from. Our yacht clubs that are sailing-based are slowly shrinking, but we need to celebrate them. We need to celebrate national governing bodies, member national authorities that are racing-based, not worried about all this other stuff. Okay, good stuff. Thank you all. Thank you, John, Lily, and Alistair for that. That, of course, is our Coach's Corner. John Emmett Sailing. Get to the front of the fleet, our regular segment. Now, this is another Bravo Zulu. That first one casual to Long Beach Yacht Club now that they have indeed confirmed what's going on. But this is the this that we've been talking about, the Southwold Sailing Club, and I know they're over there watching. Take a picture of all of you watching, if you will, and send it to us. You can send it on Facebook or otherwise. And I did not know where they were, but they are in on the River Blythe in Suffolk, up north and east a bit of London, not as far up the coast as Andrew Pindar is, up in Scarborough, but that's where they are. Mm-hmm. And how did I find out about the Southwold Sailing Club? Well, someone this morning, and I just did this research, I just did it this morning, someone sent me a video from their Facebook page, or a link to it, actually. Mm-hmm. Now, they're commenting. Please chime in. Gordon Smith saying, Southwold is delightful. P.D. James, remember the not British? Yeah. She's from Southwold, I think. Oh. And upstairs, downstairs, yeah. I think one of the homes used in that TV show was also in Southwold. So it's a lovely town.
Yeah.
Andrew is nearly in Scotland, Emmett is saying. 10 miles below the most easterly point, they're saying, at and from the club. And welcome to all of you who are there watching. But as I said, somebody this morning sent me from your Facebook page a link. So, of course, being the curious guy that I am, I went to look at it and found this on your Facebook page. And someone does a lot of good writing on their Facebook page, their website, and they have a regularly little note that goes out to members on the internet. A good shot of the approach required to capsize under the bridge. Mm-hmm. I'll show you the bridge in a moment. At Southwold, we sail at sea And when it's, because they can go from the club down to the sea, but when it's too windy, they go up the river, and to go up the river, they have to go under the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be a swing bridge, but now there's lots of trade traffic using the river. It was replaced by a Bailey Bridge many years ago. Now I digress. Do you know what a Bailey Bridge is? Well, I did the research on that as well. A Bailey Bridge is it was designed by British engineers for World War II, and it was picked up by Aussies and Americans, and I'm not sure who else among the Allies. And it was a bridge that could literally be carried on, a barge or a boat, big boat, a ship, and then without a crane could be installed over a span of water.
How neat.
Spanning over some water without any big structural impact, human beings, soldiers. So that's what a Bailey Bridge is. Well, their swing bridge was replaced by one of these Bailey bridges some time ago. So it doesn't swing, it doesn't open. Generally, we sail on the last hour or two of the flood tide, and they've got quite a tide up there. Methods of propulsion to pass the bridge include being towed. They have what they call their rescue boat. It's a big, nice launch. And the club was established 75 years ago, and they didn't get the rescue boat until the 50s, I think, from memory. Paddling, or if you are brave enough, capsize under the bridge and let the current take you under the bridge. The capsize method does not always go to plan, but the rescue boat is always on
that's an interesting
standby.
Thing. Yes, how wonderful.
Now, do you want to see how that is done?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, of course.
Have a look. Kid in a laser. Warm the cockles of John Emmett's heart.
Yeah.
And watch how good he is, because he has to judge that pierhead over there.
Yeah. That's terrific.
We got to look at that again.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
We got a replay, instant replay here on Sailing Illustrated. So the kid is good, and normally people take their rigs. You've got these boats on the rivers in the UK and elsewhere, the pivoting masts, deck step masts that'll pivot down, and you can let yourself go on the current or be towed through it. So bravo, bravo Zulu to whoever that young guy is, Andrew McIrvin, Mr. Dr. Andrew McIrvin, saying, how cool is that? Indeed, yes. Gordon Smith as well. Now, I had to go on a little bit because I wanted to see where this bridge was. And as you see, there's the club. And from the club down through Southwold Harbor out to the sea is, easy peasy. Of course, there's current. There's a lot of current. But here's this bridge up here. And if you don't want to go out into the ocean, windy or rough or whatever, you go up here and you got to get under that bridge. Mm-hmm. Blake Middleton saying capsize under the bridge method reminds me of the 4 bridges you had to get under during the Sir Francis Chichester round Alameda race in lasers. Yeah, so Fog Machine's got it as well. There's some other races in various parts of the world, including here on San Francisco Bay, where getting around under bridges is required. Here's an overview of the club. Now that's the white structure is the clubhouse. Modest clubhouse, but the second story, it looks like they have a lot of fun up there. Nice parking, nice docking out front, and a dinghy park up and down here. And, again, a modest facility, but they do a lot of sailing. And this is what is the heart and soul of our beloved sport. Clubs like Southwold Sailing Club, which is situated in an area of outstanding natural beauty at Southwold Harbor, approximately 1 mile from the mouth of the River Blythe, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, on the Suffolk coast. The objective of the club, this is from their website, is to promote and provide facilities for coastal sailing. The club has approximately 150 members who include dinghy, cruiser, and powerboat sailors with skill levels ranging from complete novice to very experienced. New members are always welcome. And Julie, I also noticed on their website, they said if you want to apply for membership, there's a form here. There maybe even was a link to the form. And it's quick. You apply, and our committee, meaning that's their board of directors.
Right.
Their committee meets monthly, and almost always that membership application gets taken up at the next committee meeting. So within a month, if you apply, you should be a member. None of this long. I mean, how long does it take to become a member at St. Francis?
Oh, gosh.
You got to be recommended. You got to fill out forms. You got to be interviewed by the committee. You got to do this or that. You may have to go in and see if you have proper etiquette in the bar. I don't know. Bloody hell. We need to go sailing. We need to go yacht racing. We need to race sailboats. And we need clubs like this club and others. And we need our national authorities to support them. As I said, a modest facility, but do they have fun or what? You recognize the song? This is from a recent party of theirs. Do you recognize the same old show on my radio? Do you remember that song?
No.
Well, that's probably because you're not a fan of British music, but there was a genre of music called two-tone music. It was kind of a combination of Rastafarian, Jamaican music, and British punk rock. And that is two-tone because there was a recording studio called Two-Tone. Ska, yeah, Gordon Smith's got it. Ska music, that's the genre as well. Well, this club is cool. Look at this.
Yeah?
And that's from a band. The band is not playing, but the original band was called The Selector, and that song was released in 1980. Look at these people.
Gosh.
I want to join that club. Huh?
Yeah, that's possible, I'm sure.
Bravo, Zulu. Finally, I just make a historical note here. There is that launch. I'm sure it's a different launch now, but that's from way back in the 40s, the late 40s. And Southwold Sailing Club officially formed in 49 when a handful of members acquired the current site and worked on weekends to transform what was a damp, disused net pickling shed into a single-story clubhouse. This was a major accomplishment for a dedicated band of volunteers,
Right.
as it gave the members a base in which to socialize, as we just saw, prepare for sailing, and hold meetings, which gave them a real sense of belonging. That's 75 years ago this year, 2024, and they will be celebrating their 75 years together on the water. Finally,
That's
I have
lovely.
one more slide, and any club that has this on their website, Southwold Sailing Club, the bar opens from 6:30 Friday and Saturday. Bravo, Zulu, to all of you there, watching or not, and happy 75th.
Indeed. How nice.
Julie Ahrens is spot on, our Fosie in Cleveland, when she says, all you need is a big space, a bar, chairs, and tables. James Frederick Bland down in Austin, Texas. I think Lake Geneva Yacht Club, or the late great Fontana, Wisconsin, of course, the late great Buddy Melgus, take the prize for the most active small boat sailing program, but not much lake frontage. But there is racing most days of the week for the members of that storied club, indeed. Bridge Under Troubled Water should be the theme song. Well, they're not troubled waters. They're having a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah, water under the bridge is the non-sailing CEOs. Okay, so you got it. And I think, see Pindar's comment, the most important landmark in Southwold is the wonderful Adnams Brewery. I hope that's not a typo, not Adams. Adnams Brewery, home of the Ghost Ship beer.
Aha.
Southwold Sailing Club's comment, we are all about grassroots sailing. It's what we are all passionate about, so thanks for featuring us. It means a lot. Well, it means a lot to all of us, whether we're members of New York Yacht Club or St. Francis or the Royal Yacht Squadron or the RORC. I'm from a member of several of those clubs, but I'm from a little tiny club in Michigan. Clark Chapin's on here. Joe Holtzman used to be a member. He's on here, retired now in Colorado. And it was the same sort of a club. Great people getting together, having a beer, doing some yacht racing in small pleasure boats, the Dutch word yacht, and then maybe having a bar or not even having a bar. But what a great club. Bravo Zulu to all of you. Thanks for letting us feature your club. I didn't ask permission. I just did that all this morning.
Yes.
When somebody sent me, I can't remember who sent me that video of the kid in the laser
Yeah.
capsizing so elegantly
Yes.
under the bridge.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I love to learn about things like that.
I do too. HPYC was the original name of our club here in Portage Yacht Club. adnams.co.uk, Portage Lake Yacht Club. Now, that's a different club, Lake Middleton. Portage, there is a Portage. Now it's just simply Portage Yacht Club. Well, we're handing out Bravo Zulus on this Friday to other cool stuff that's happening. Another one of our favorite clubs, Balboa Yacht Club down in Newport Beach, California, which, of course, runs the Governor's Cup, is running the 57th Annual Youth International Match Racing Championship this summer. We'll be live streaming that racing again with Andy Rose, with Matt Whitfield, who joins us on the commentary team, our producer, director, Chris Bretschker, excuse me, I got to catch my, I'm so pleased about that Southwold Sailing Club segment. We need to do more of those.
Yes, it'll be fun.
There we go, Chris Bretschker. But the request for invitation is out. It's on the website. Any of you, or if you know young sailors under age 23 interested in racing in this most prestigious event, the RFI, request for invitation by other names, is now available. The press release went out last night. Balboa Yacht Club has posted all the information necessary for the RFI, the International Youth Match Racing Championship, highly esteemed championship, July 22 to 27 this year, and it's on the GovCup Racing website. The deadline for receiving RFIs is April 12th, but don't delay because the selection committee may invite skippers who are particularly qualified at any time. So those interested are encouraged to file an RFI as soon as possible. Now, there's also a potentially cool thing could happen this year. Our Fozy, who's been on the show any number of times, the esteemed Jeffrey Peterson, who is now in college on the East Coast in Washington, D.C. at Georgetown. He won in 2021. He won again in 2023. I think this is his last year of eligibility, but he is eligible for 2024. Can he three-peat? Which would make Jeffrey the first person to ever win 3 GovCups.
Wow.
Several people have won 2.
Yeah.
Have won twice, but no o's ever won it 3 times. So
well, they better try.
we'll see if Jeffrey can do that.
Yeah.
And again, don't dilly-dally. Timothy Rossi, I see you were on earlier. I hope he gets into this again. He was a great competitor last year. Gordon Smith is commenting, great to see your club, Southwold. Yep, indeed. And the club replying, thank you. You are all welcome anytime. Well, thank you, Southwold Yacht Club, Sailing Club. That's very, very generous. And the club also saying there are more capsized videos on our Facebook and Instagram, and they will keep coming if you fancy some entertainment. Well, somebody send me a link to somebody there, the Commodore or whomever is a willing communicant, and we'll keep in touch with you because we appreciate very much your club.
Lovely. Yes.
That's what you do. A little bit of America's Cup news, and we're going to start obviously gearing up for this because it is coming right up, and this is a video about Alinghi hanging on in Jeddah.
We're here with Gauthier Sargent, Aero Lead at Alinghi Red Bull Racing. You started with some sail testing and then into some match race pre-starts and a couple of races. Looked like a little bit of a hectic day. How did it go?
Yeah, it was definitely top of the range, you know, a bit bumpy, so it's always tricky to sail those boats in any sea state, but good to be out there and get the hang of it.
Yeah, we've had quite a lot of wind the last few days. Has this been great for your testing schedule?
Yeah, it's working out really good because we had a lot of sort of lighter conditions pre-Christmas, so we got a chance to test all the bottom end of the range, the bigger sails, and now we're into the smaller sails, upper end of the range, and it's just a good complement to the training sessions we've had in the past.
3, 2, 1, start.
Yeah, and lots of wind, lots of chop today. This chop was specifically quite strong. It could be a Garbi in Barcelona, which is a strong afternoon thermal wind. How good is that for your sail testing?
It's great because obviously you want to test performance when it's flat water and have, you know, as close as possible to what you see in the model. But at some point you got to be prepared for those conditions, find the settings that get you a bit of forgiveness and the speed you need in these conditions.
Are you finding big difference in performance between the One Design sails?
We went testing One Design sails today. We had like 280 jibs, so we've kind of doing our own things now.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, start. 4 seconds late. You sailed with the early jibs and the One Design mainsails, but you had some GoPros set up on both boats looking at the mainsails, and we noticed this morning that the mainsail bags were switched and didn't have their usual mainsails in them. Are today's One Design sails One Design?
Yeah, no, they're full One Design. There's no tricks. I'm not sure why. I don't even know why the bags were swapped. I didn't notice. So.
That's good. Just moving on, when it comes to working with Red Bull Racing Technologies, how well have they been able to apply their skill set in the aero department? You know, you've got flexible sails, whereas they're usually working with solid surfaces.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we don't have the same control as a rigid wing, but the end goal is the same, and we just use different tools to get there. So it's a pretty quick adaptation.
3, 2, 1, start. Has the aero design for the hull been straightforward on the other hand?
The what, sorry?
The aero design for the hull.
No, it's like everything else.
Okay, this sort of goes downhill now. He's not going to answer these questions. He skirted around the sailback question. That's an old trick that we all used to use. But I just think this video is amazing. They stayed in Jeddah. I don't know if they decided to stay there or if they had to stay there. We'll tell you some more about that in a moment. Stingray knows the answer, I suppose. But it is interesting how fit they are in the bump, in the breeze and the bump.
Yes.
And as you know, I think I've thought all along, Julie, they're going to be one of the best teams. And I still think that's a rather abrupt end to that video, but not my doing.
What are those sails made of?
Well, they're carbon. They're carbon and Kevlar. They're carbon.
They almost look like the consistency of leather.
Oh no, they're carbon and Kevlar. I mean, there's carbon and Kevlar all over this studio, in fact. But yeah, they're not your sails. They're not my sails. They're not Dacron even, let alone anything before Dacron. Okay, I think Alinghi's going to be good. And where'd the wind come from? Fog Machine is asking. Yeah. It does look like good training for lump and breeze. And of course, you heard Terry Hutchinson on the show Tuesday, that even in light air off Barcelona, we've been talking about this for years now, as soon as they named Barcelona as the venue, and I, having experienced firsthand there during the Olympics '92 when I was on the jury, and the racing was right off the breakwater in front of the Athletes Village, those two apartment towers buildings they built. And in certain angles, as Terry explained on the show Tuesday, the waves are in and refracting, bouncing off the breakwater, and it's a confused, choppy bit of water. I think Alinghi is doing something very well in how they're handling the boat. There's another video, I didn't put it in here. It was vertical video and it wasn't very good. And Tom Slingsby explaining how this was just today, maybe yesterday, in training in Barcelona, and how if you get the boat more than 5 degrees off kilter, the rudder stops gripping in the back and the boat does the nosedive.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to learn here, and it's going to be an interesting, as you heard Terry say, talking about foils, it's going to be an interesting period of time here to see which of these teams, plus they only get one set of foils.
That's what I was going to say.
Remember that?
Yeah.
When Terry said they only get to use one Once they declare and put them on, that set of foils is it
Right.
for the duration of the campaign. Not only in can't even change between series of races. So it's Emmett is saying the lump always makes sailing more exciting. They are very solid. Yes, I agree. Now, so a little bit more about this. You know, they're there in Jeddah. Did they stay or did they have to stay? Because there's a headline in Stingray, thank you for sending that to me. A couple others did too, but there's a headline in the New Zealand, I think it was the New Zealand Herald, but in one of the Kiwi papers this morning about how the Kiwis did not get their AC-40 out of Jeddah before this hooty shelling of vessels, of ships broke out and the Americans firing back. So the shipping, because the insurance companies have basically stopped it in the Red Sea, so the AC-40, which was being shipped from Jeddah by the Kiwis, from Jeddah to Auckland so that the youth and the women's teams could train on it,
Won't be shipped.
it's still there in Jeddah.
Yeah.
And we'll see, there was some quotes saying, well, maybe we'll get it out of here in March, 2 months from now.
Maybe.
And maybe they won't get it out of there at all. So there was a thing in Scuttlebutt last night, maybe the people who were against the event in Jeddah are now getting the last laugh. I don't think this is funny at all. I think it's really sad that they went there in the first place. And the fact, I have no schadenfreude about this because I think it's sad for the women and the youth who want to be training. Okay, they'll get on there in their simulator and they'll have some more training time. But really,
Yeah.
what a stupid decision to go there in the first place. Now, is that why Alinghi is still there? Could they not get their boats out? Did they not get their boats out in time?
I don't know.
You heard Terry Hutchinson's comment. I don't know if he made the comment on our show or if I read it someplace else, but he made kind of a cheeky comment about, we beat Cheeks, as my sister would have said. We got the hell out of there with our AC-40 just in the nick of time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Richard Gladwell maybe's got some skinny on this. After the preliminary regatta, Alinghi RBR returned to Barcelona, did 3 days in the AC-75, and then returned to Jeddah to sail in the AC-40s and are now in their second week of that part of the program. Yeah, and a lot of breeze and some very interesting video from that testing, Richard. Groover is saying, Steve says, I can't wait for the AC-75s. That's when the fun begins. The rest of this is just so ho-hum. Bing Bog's got a few comments. That's William Sangmeister. This is what they get for making everyone sail in the country with no human rights. Pedro Foiling Sailor, a.k.a. Peter slow down, Tom, a.k.a. Peter Stevenson, in Sydney is back after a long cup of coffee. There's Vice Commodore Claire Harrington of the esteemed New York Yacht Club. I don't know a lot, but I do know that you look pretty handsome in that outfit.
Uh-huh.
Who's she talking about?
Probably you.
Oh, I don't think so. I love Claire, and that was very kind, but I think she's probably maybe she's talking about the Alinghi sailor. Richard Gladwell adds, thank you, Commodore, regardless. We're RBR, Red Bull Racing, Alinghi Red Bull Racing, we're always going to run the AC-40 program in Jeddah to get more stable winds than at this time of the year in BCN. Okay, interesting.
Okay.
Ben Osborne, hello to you, sir. Like the breakout of hostilities couldn't have been predicted. J. Frederick Bland, who's Julia, he is a graduate of our Naval Academy.
Right.
A naval officer, submariner, submarine war officer.
I've forgotten that. Yeah.
He is a very switched on, bright, fit guy. Even at his relative, he's not quite as old as we are, but he's up there. He's not a spring chicken anymore, but he's still very fit, and he's bench pressing, I don't know how many hundreds of pounds.
I'm proud of him.
I am too. John Hanfield, going to Jeddah was one of the worst to say. Okay, let's don't relitigate that. Hanfield replying, James, especially the U.S. and the UK, let the Saudis destroy Yemen. Yeah, okay. Let's don't get into political discussion about the war in the Middle East. And it is a war. We are in a proxy war with Iran. I just got involved in a discussion, which is a good thing. We're to the last leg.
Yes, hurry.
The Gloucester by Thomas Hoyne, that famous painting we used to do the segment. SailGP video, very interesting.
On the F-50 lift these epic machines
And news.
out of the water, just like an aeroplane on a runway. Once it hits the right speed, it can take off to reach nearly 4 times the wind speed. SailGP Technologies is always innovating and improving the F-50. A new T-foil is in development in pursuit of speed and resilience. What's unique about the T-foils is that they will be made from titanium instead of carbon fibre. Thinner sections can be manufactured and therefore there will be less drag on the F-50, allowing it to reach faster speeds. Unlike the current fragile L-foils, the new titanium build will be more resilient over the course of a season.
The foil is a lot more efficient than what we had before. On the control side, the design of the T-foil makes it a lot easier. With the T-foils, the cavitation should onset a lot later and we should be able to go ultimately faster.
One key outcome from real-world testing was the F-50's ability to foil in lighter winds than usual. A surprising result, given the T-foils are heavier compared to the existing L-foils. Additionally, the more aggressive foil shape saw a 15% improvement on the current configuration when it came to speed.
It will be great for the new teams. Everyone will be starting from level 0. It'll be a fun time when we first put those in.
The first iterations of those we hope to see in season 5, so we're looking to implement these changes in the fleet during that time, and obviously go through sea trials with the new equipment to make sure it's performing as it should be. A lot of this work would be done in the break from our last event in July to the first event in season 5, which will be in November. So yeah, exciting times.
Okay, so that's interesting news. They're going to a T-foil from the L-foil, and they're going to titanium from carbon. And obviously the boat's going to go faster. I guess it's obvious from what they're saying in the testing. They wouldn't be doing it if that weren't the case. And they'll do it between seasons, what you heard Russell say, between season 4. The last event is here in San Francisco in what, June? Yes. May, June, I think. And then whenever their first regatta is in November. So these things could also be very dangerous. Titanium, T-foils.
Yeah.
But time marches on, technology marches on. And interesting that we've gone from the semi-foils in the boat behind me. You know, those boats, you can see the curved, can you see that? Yeah, you can. The curved dagger foils on those boats, on that boat, on the, on Dogzilla, as Stingray calls it, the boat that won the 2010 Cup in Valencia, the trimaran. And then we got here to the AC-75s in San Francisco, and those boats were not designed to foil, hence the tragedy with Artemis when the hull folded up, because it really wasn't designed to be lifted up on the water on foils. And the designers and sailors started to figure out how to do that within the class rules. Those boats ended up foiling. And then, of course, it went full-on design, let's go foiling. In the meantime, which happened in Bermuda and happened in Auckland and is happening again in the America's Cup in Barcelona. And in the meantime now, we've got SailGP foiling with not just L foils, but with T foils, as you see is going on in the America's Cup.
Makes a lot of sense, the T-foils.
Well, it didn't. It didn't initially. They couldn't seem to get them to work back in, some time ago. Comments. So higher chance to catch kelp in San Pedro. Yeah, there'll be more kelp. I think probably the wingspan is probably about the same. I think the T-foils, I think the span between the two foils is probably not much different from the L-foil span, but what do I know? I don't know. Compared to the L-foils, now Stingray worked at Boeing, so he should know. Compared to the L-foils, these new SailGP foils being T-shaped and built with titanium will allow both the arms and the foils to be thinner and able to achieve higher cavitation limits, he thinks. And he, of course, an engineer. He's a computer jockey. I'm not sure he's an aerospace engineer per se, but he will have known a lot. He'll have forgotten more about that kind of stuff than certainly I and others on here will.
Yes.
Bill Canfield, Mr. President, nice to have you on. There's a board meeting next week, he's saying, and it's open to all who register. It must be a virtual meeting and go online. What else here? Lots of comments. Steve Groover wants to go on that meeting. He is saying, tell me more, Bill. Yeah, okay. Now, I have one more just to wrap up SailGP and really wrap up the show, but the next event's coming up next month in Sydney.
And for the first time in SailGP
24th and 25th of Feb in Sydney, as their season will continue after the holiday break. And I'm looking they had another regatta already since the holidays, but in the Middle East. So I'm looking forward to that one. That's always been a good regatta. I think Tom Slingsby is always a hometown favorite and maybe even the regatta favorite when they get there. But of course, the Kiwis are closing in. So we'll see Pete Burling and co. can make, really make it very interesting at the top of the leaderboard there in Sydney next month. Alistair Murray will be there for Sailing Illustrated. Thank you, Mr. President.
Oh, good.
President of Australian Sailing. It'll be good to have him there and giving us some reports. One other interesting piece of news that when we were doing our testing last night, and the FOSI that were on watching the testing said, you got to mention this in the show. And I had no idea this was happening, so it was good that somebody did. Giovanni Soldini, we saw that Maserati, as had been his sponsor for years, had left him, and now he's got a new sponsor. Do you recognize that logo, Julia?
I should.
That is the prancing horse of Ferrari.
Oh, yes. Okay.
The prancing horse of Ferrari, and Giovanni, who's from Milano originally, I've met him, a cool guy. I'm happy and honored, and he's 56 or so, mid-50s, I think. I'm happy and honored to announce my new venture, meaning his new sponsor, with Ferrari to bring to life a pioneering project combining innovation, performance, and sustainability. I am thrilled and honored to start this new adventure with Ferrari to develop a pioneering project. So he's saying it in a couple different ways, both languages, Italian and English. And here is a teaser video.
From the very beginning, our racing DNA has surged through everything we do, combining our passion and drive for innovation. We audaciously redefine the limits of possible, conquering racetracks and roads all over the earth. Fire speeds up our engines. Wind shapes our designs, yet both can propel us forward. A hunger to set benchmarks and break records, our sights fixed on new horizons. Taking the race where we never have before. This isn't just what we do, it's who we are.
How as cool is that?
Very.
You got Mercedes in their Formula One team in with the Brits. In the America's Cup, you got Red Bull Racing, their America's Cup team in with Alinghi in the America's Cup. You got several of the other car companies in, and now you got Ferrari in with Giovanni Soldini. And let's there's a couple quotes because that was a teaser. It didn't tell you a lot about what was going on. The German chairman of Ferrari, John Elkann, I guess he's German. Is he German or Swiss? I think he's German. We are about to embark on an exciting journey that will expand our racing soul with this new competitive challenge motivated by our innovative capacity. Okay, this is a lot of corporate gobbledygook, but nonetheless, innovative capacity and commitment to sustainability. Got to work that word into every press release at least once. We will push beyond current boundaries. We are happy to be able to count on Giovanni, who is extraordinary in terms of experience, determination, and team spirit, no doubt. And he, of course, responded, said, I'm thrilled to start this new adventure with Ferrari, and we are working on an important and cutting-edge project. Okay, they haven't revealed what that is yet, with an amazing technological potential that brings together different worlds and skills of the highest level, working with an exceptional team in the research and development of innovative solutions that are respectful of our environment is a truly unique experience. Okay, so much for that. But we'll see what that project is. And we shall see, hopefully sooner than later. Maybe we'll cover it. I don't know. That gets us to the finish line, or almost. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot for today. Continuing, Julia.
Yes.
Continuing on our theme, a couple photos that were sent in. The Aussies love their dogs. We started with Australian dogs. We're going to end with some Australian dogs, courtesy of Peter Taylor, our Fozy in New York City. And looks like a mama and papa dog, and they got a baseball bat or a cricket bat, I suppose, and beach balls. What better expression of Australia Day, except maybe a shrimp on the Barbie. I don't know who this kid is. I guess he's a kid, but he is, you used to see that here in the States, didn't you? Somebody in head-to-toe American flags. I'm not sure you see that much anymore, but still in Oz and some other great countries. Look at, he's even got, on his socks, he's got the flags. So I thought that was cool. That's from Peter Taylor. And then finally, this gives new meaning to the Australian Open. You think she knows that her dress or zipper is split there? That is an Aussie. And that apparently was, I don't know if this is correct or Crutonic, but Peter Taylor also sent that and said, yep, this is from the Australian Open, the tennis, which is going on at the moment in Melbourne, the Australian Open. Peter Taylor, thank you for that. You like that, Julia? Huh? Does that deserve a finger wag? They'll take a drink if it does. It's Saturday morning in Oz.
Well, I think it probably does. It's not really a good taste.
Oh, come on. It's perfect. It's just a little cleavage.
That's true.
A little, that's plumber's butt crack if you were Paul Henderson and a plumber, right?
Right.
Nobody cares about it. Come on. No finger wag, or just a very minor one. Finally, just to get off topic here, this came from Ed Worley. Preschool rules and bar rules. Since this is the drinking show of the Sailing Habit, not that I drink, or you do. You don't very much anymore, Julia. Not that you ever did, or did you?
Oh, I did in the day.
Preschool rules and bar rules are the same. You pee your pants or you go home. Right?
Good one.
Good one. And that came from Ed Worley. Thank you, Ed, for that, which does well and truly get us to the finish line. Thank goodness. I'm just looking at our stats here after all that testing, and we have 0 frames dropped on the network. We've lost 28 frames due to rendering lag in this hour and 42 minutes the show's been going on, and skipped frames due to encoding lag, 0. I can't complain. That's all rounds to 0.0. No complaints looking at my stats here on the screen. Julia?
Yes, sir.
Your slide.
Yes. Please like, follow, and share. Very simple to share. Just punch the button.
Indeed. Click the arrow button right now, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. And comments are welcome too, even in replay. Those of you watching, as many of you do, in replay. And thanks again to all of you who are supporting us via Patreon. That gives us a few bucks to pay the internet bill, to get some new equipment, to replace old equipment that was clearly causing us problems. I think we've solved that one. Hopefully we have. Patreon.com/join/Sailing Illustrated. Much appreciated. And also thanks to those of you who gave us images, video, and audio for today's show. We appreciate it very much. Bill Sangmeister saying a very epic show. Julie Aaron's good show as always. Thank you, Julie. Don Lunabos. We do cover the waterfront. I want to thank again the people at Southwold Sailing Club. That was terrific to learn about your clubs. Holtzman saying, Joe saying it's one of the best shows ever. Fritz Mueller in Miami, gotta go. And Stingray, yeah, maybe, great show. Water under the bridge. Great show under the bridge. Thank you, everyone. Alistair Murray, thank you, sir, Mr. President of Australian Sailing. Your great country and great federation. Bravo Zulu to you and everybody else who have, so it's really a weekend. You're celebrating your Australia Day weekend down there. And, of course, we'd recognize it. It's one of our favorites. Thanks, everybody. Your show notes remind you that Dawn Riley will be our guest on the 13th of February. Probably some guests in the meantime, too. But on Tuesday, the 13th of Feb, Dawn will be joining us. She, of course, the CEO of Oak Cliff Sailing Center in New York on Long Island, and we'll look forward to having her on. We hope wherever in the world you are, you have a great rest of your weekend, or start of your weekend if you're here in the States. See you Tuesday. In the meantime, sail fast, sail safe, have fun. Ciao for now.